Girl stuff is how we like to communicate our thoughts and feeling, stories that can make you relate. And we talk to some cool people we met on the way. So thanks for tuning in. We hope that you like your stay.
Hey, I'm Hannah,
Hi, I'm Mel.
And I'm Katie.
and welcome to another episode of the GIRLSTUFF podcast. Today we have the wonderful Katie Douglas with us. You might know her from Ginny and Georgia or other shows that she's been in. But Katie, before I introduce you, why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, I'm Katie Douglas. You might know me from Ginny and Georgia. Thanks a lot for having me on your podcast and for being interested in what I have to say. I'm an actor, and that's pretty much been my reality for the past couple of years. I've been acting since I was about 6 years old, and I'm just happy to answer any questions you guys might have.
Perfect. So before we get into the nitty-gritty details of acting, we all know that, we've all been in quarantine for the last year and a half. Canada especially has been in its own type of quarantine for the last couple of months. So is there anything that you got to do during quarantine that you otherwise would not have had the time to do?
Yeah, totally. I weirdly was quite okay throughout all of the quarantining. I'm talking to you in my PJs right now, which I'm like abnormally comfortable with.
Mhm.
So I got up to a lot of creative stuff, I guess. I really like making visual arts and
Mhm.
painting and drawing. So it was nice to finally have a reason to sit down and like really focus on I don't know, making something quality,
Yeah.
putting your time and effort into it. And I totally am a huge movie nerd, so I spent a lot of my time actually, especially in the colder months, just like
Yeah.
binge watching everything that I had missed over the past couple of years. I actually had a good time. I had a great time.
Perfect.
Couldn't really complain.
Yeah. So what shows or movies did you binge? Like, give us the tea.
Yeah, totally. I'm a pretty big I'm a pretty big David Lynch fan,
Okay.
and somebody had reminded me of Twin Peaks, the '90s series that I hadn't watched in a couple of years. So I rewatched all of Twin Peaks, and then um, there's a new modern version of Twin Peaks that I watched for the first time. And like just fell in love with. It's just my kind of TV, and
Yeah.
I got through all of it, and I would recommend it to anybody who is a Lynchian. I think I think it was a great show. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
gonna put
No.
my phone on silent.
Not a problem. Yeah, no, and I think that's the thing, right? Is especially, colder months, you don't really want to leave the house. So you're like, well,
Yeah,
let me just binge, why not?
yeah, and you forget like awesome just TV watching and movies can actually be. You fall back in love
Yeah.
with it when you are able to focus on it and
Yeah,
appreciate it for.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. And you are an actress and, you know, definitely have a different affinity to shows and movies since you actually get to be part of them. So before we get into kind of, Ginny and Georgia and how you got into that, I want to ask, like, what inspired you to begin acting? What kind of drives you to keep going as well as an actress?
Mm, Good question. I think when I actually started when I was quite young, and from what I remember, it came about um pretty much when I just remember being a little bit dissatisfied with the reality that I was living in. So a lot of my time was spent daydreaming and like creating alternate situations and just putting on a character. And I think that kind of caught the attention of somebody somebody's mom at my school was a casting director, and they noticed that, and luckily they introduced me to an agency which eventually signed me, and
Mhm.
that's how it all began. But yeah, I think it came from just craving a more creative reality.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think, one of my favorite things about just talking to actresses and actors is they always say like it's nice to put yourself into someone else's shoes for
Yeah,
a hot minute, and
absolutely.
allow yourself to like go through different emotions and learn more about the world that we live in.
Uh-huh.
So what's your favorite thing about acting?
Um, well, I think for me it's storytelling essentially, and
Hmm.
I love storytelling. I love every aspect of um, just um I think acting for me is about empathy,
Hmm.
and it's really important to just find whatever little bit of truth is in the piece of work that you're um, exercising, and just bringing it to the foreground, and making it relatable.
Hmm.
Film can be an incredibly powerful
Hmm.
medium. So um, I really like just exploring um, you know the like,
The
I sound like such
storytelling
a
aspect
yeah.
of it. Yeah, no, 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 totally get it, totally get it.
Yeah.
And you play, Abby and Ginny and Georgia, but you also play a character in Pretty Hard Cases. And from what I've gathered, the two are very different types of shows. So how do you do you have a secret in how you get into the role of your character? Is there anything that you specifically do when you're either prepping for a role or like getting ready to film that find works
Yeah,
for you?
totally. And I think time helps a lot. Just being able to like establish your character and let her sit on your brain for a little while. And for me, what I normally end up doing if I'm having trouble um, believing myself, like believing in what I'm saying, I just kind of think about how like truthfully I think about how I would say this
Mhm,
in this situation,
mhm.
and applying a little bit of my self to it, because at the end of the day, the one thing that we all have in common is that we are human beings, and
Yeah.
it's really not that it shouldn't be that hard to empathize and to understand your character. So I just like letting it run on your brain a little bit. And
Mhm. The work, yeah, well, no, definitely. And I think it's important, right, to realize that even if you are playing a character, they are still a human being with their
yeah.
emotions and memories and stuff. So definitely does, bring the character to life. And, we'll talk later about Abby, but I know a lot of people connected with Abby because of her storyline that then unfolded as the show kept going.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll definitely dive into that later. But talking about different shows that you've been on, different sets that you've been on, what has kind of been like your funniest or most memorable moment? It could just be from Ginny and Georgia, or it could be from anything that you've done before.
There was a lot of funny moments on Ginny and Georgia. Oh my god. Trying to think of like one that someone's not gonna be like angry with me for telling. Um oh geez. I think we have a most god, a memorable ah
It's a hard question. We
it's too funny
interviewed.
because there's so many, and it kind of gets lost in like the surreal experience that is being on a film set, and like
Yeah.
um kind of like checking into reality, then checking back into your character's reality. Like
Yeah.
it gets all twisted up. But uh is it okay if I can't think of a funny moment? Like
Yeah, no, no, totally fine. I mean, we get it. Like, it's also been a couple of years since you've been on the set too, so it's like
2019. Sorry guys.
no, no, totally good. You're totally fine. All right. So, we've dived in a little bit about your like previous acting roles or like kind of like your history with acting. So what we're gonna do is actually like dive into your newest role with Ginny and Georgia because I think there's a lot to unpack with
Sure.
Abby specifically, and I'm excited to just hear your thoughts about her and about the show itself. But before we do that, we do want to play a little game with you. The game is called Who Said It? And basically, we'll be giving you lines from the show, and you'll have to tell us who said it. So
I'm
Mel's gonna
nervous.
take it
Okay.
away from here.
Please.
All right. So as Hannah said, I'm gonna give you a line from the show and you're gonna tell me what character said it or what actor.
Okay.
Okay, the first line is I quit being a mom, the hours are long and the pay sucks.
That was Jen. who plays Marcus and Max's mom.
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
Okay, the next line is fall in a ditch.
That's Sarah Wisglass. Delivered beautifully.
100%. Okay, the next line is we're like the penguins. We can't fly, but maybe we can learn to swim.
That could either be Scott Porter, who plays the mayor, or Nate, who plays Zion.
No,
Ah,
but Zion is close.
I mean, technically both are close.
it's Georgia. It's gotta
Yeah.
be. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay, the next line is no pants, no dare.
That was Brody. No, that was Colton, who plays Nora's boyfriend.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay, the next line is she asked me for a weed. She wasn't that friendly.
Marcus?
Yes. Okay, next one is cool people don't say they're cool.
I think that one was said a couple times, am I right? It was first said by Maxine, and then later it was said by Ginny.
Yes.
Okay, double point.
I'm actually doing so much better than I thought I was.
Okay, the next line is your mom sort of scares me.
That is either Nora or Brody. Jordan.
No.
It's
It's Hunter.
oh, of course. Of course.
I mean, Georgia is kind of scary when you're dating her daughter.
Absolutely. I'd be terrified.
The next line is that's such a bummer. There are no good gays here.
Maxine Baker.
Yes. The next line is through the lens is how the world makes sense to me.
Zion.
Yes.
What a good one.
I love that line.
It's such a great character.
We love photographers on shows.
Always.
Okay, the next line is you're amazing, you're the best, and I'm just over it.
I think I said that
Yes, you did.
in a very nasty and sarcastic way.
But a whole mood.
I lived it.
The next line is unless your name is Jesus, I don't think your birthday counts as a holiday.
What's that, Nick? Who plays Georgia?
Close.
Sorry, guys.
It's Ginny.
Oh,
To Max.
got it.
The next line is Happy Friday.
That might be Hunter.
The next line, also what we've heard was a very fun shooting day, is I will not be doing that.
Oh, Nora. Yeah, that was a fun shooting day. It was a very heavy day for sure.
The second to last line is indifference is the best revenge.
Bran Howie? Ginny.
Yes.
Nice.
And the last line, which is one of my favorite lines, it says so much. It's just,
Marcus Baker,
Yes!
performed by the brilliant Felix Mallard.
I think you're the first one that has gotten that one so far.
It's just because I just love that too. I love the way he delivered that.
Yeah.
Comedic genius at heart, I think.
Now that we've gotten into a little bit of Ginny and Georgia, let's dive in completely.
Yeah, please.
Most of our viewers know you as Abby in Ginny and Georgia. She is best friends with Max, Nora, and later on Ginny. How did you get the role, and what was like the audition process like?
The audition process was actually kind of a long one. I remember I actually went in a couple times for the role of Max, and I just remember every time I went back for a callback, I kind of got like feedback from them saying, everything's great, but like we could just use a little bit more energy. And I remember thinking as an actor, like, all right, game on, challenge accepted. But as a individual person, thinking like, oh boy, okay, here we go. And then after about a month, I finally got asked to come in for Abby, and that's when I read that character, and something just felt a little bit more personal, and there was an arc to Abby that was actually quite interesting, and I felt like I knew her in high school when I was friends with a couple Abbies, and I actually related to her quite a bit myself. So yeah, I went in for that audition, and something just felt um, a little more right for me, and I was quite excited to be offered to portray that in the show, like that aspect of being a teenager, the very flawed, unperfect, not necessarily likable one. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much how that went down. It was long, but it was worth it.
And you did great.
Yeah. Well, no, thank you for saying that. Um, yeah.
More about Ginny and Georgia as a show. As a viewer, what would you say is your favorite episode to watch?
Hmm. I really, there's something about the first episode that like sets the scene in a way that it's an episode that I'm actually not in, I don't think, and I'm not even in it, but there's the first episode introducing all of the characters was uh I think a favorite of mine, just because everyone is so I don't know, it all just worked out so nicely. And I don't know, one that was my favorite to shoot for sure was, and you've probably heard this before, the Halloween episode where we got to dress up in our Britney costumes, and it was actually close to Halloween as well, so it was like the Halloween that I didn't actually really get. And yeah, it was super fun. It was like a party.
Yeah, we also heard that the sleepover episode was a really fun one too.
God, I keep forgetting all of this, but yeah, no, it totally was. Yeah, it was nice because it wasn't even just like going to work and going to film. It was a group of people who were all like-minded and all around the same age, and it was just like actually hanging out with your friends and at a party.
Yeah, we heard tons about the Cupid Shuffle.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
What would you say is your favorite line from the show, whether it's your own characters or someone else's?
My favorite line from the show would have to be the speech that Maxine gives about her waxing session in Ginny's birthday episode, about the being bald like a naked mole rat. You can't beat it. Sarah Waysclass executes that line with such grace and comedy. I love it. That's my favorite line.
I actually love that scene because it was a German lady and I'm from Germany. So I watched it and was like, yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
She captured the essence of what it is to be in a waxing salon.
Especially in Germany. They,
Everyone can relate.
I mean, speaking of your favorite line being from Max, you said you auditioned for Max, but you got Abby. But who is your favorite character in the show?
Probably Austin, to be honest with you. There are a lot of little moments that Austin has by himself that I don't know, I personally just they resonated with me a lot. Oh god, there's just one scene where he's run away from school, and he's kind of got his little Harry Potter wand, and he's off in the woods playing by himself, and it actually reminded me of what it was like for me to be a kid, and just to prefer my imagination to the real world, to the other kids. And I think his storyline is very sweet and very relatable.
Yeah. And when I found out that he's Australian, I was like, How is that tiny human able to deliver a perfect American accent?
He's so talented. He's such a wonderful little actor.
So we talked a lot about Ginny and Georgia and what happened in the first season. We now know that we're gonna get a season 2. What is something that you want to see happen in season 2?
It's hard to say. I think Ginny has a lot of work to do. I think Ginny has to go figure some stuff out before she kind of tackles her social life with her friends. I think her family issues are in the foreground more than anything, and I would love to see. I love an honest storyline where the main character isn't super likable and isn't super uh, quick to solve their problems. It's teenage girls are destructive and need to, and the only way to really like learn is to buck up. Sorry if it's a no swearing podcast, but
Swear away.
It's a swearing podcast.
right on. Yeah, no, I think Ginny needs to fuck up a little bit before she can actually figure shit out. So
Really.
I'm really excited to see what the writers do with her storyline, especially the way that they left it. I would yeah, she's a great character. Antonia is just one of those actors who gets it, and she can handle any anything that the writers throw at her. It's super exciting.
Yeah. And we get to see a little bit of Abby's character as well, and kind of the things that she's going through herself. And one of my favorite scenes, actually, because it just really puts out there, like, girls go through so much behind the scenes.
Yeah.
When she's in front of the mirror and just like, I'm just going to put my jeans back on because that's where I feel most comfortable. How did you kind of get around that specific scene? Because I think that's emotionally intense to film something like that. So what were kind of like your thoughts on that scene, or like, have you heard any audiences react to that specific scene?
For sure, yeah. One of the great things about this show is that it's written so truthfully, and it's written by people who sympathize with all of these things, and it's stories that are based on what it really is like to be a teenage girl. So I think myself and a lot of people, not only just girls who watch that scene unfolding, can personally relate to looking in the mirror and feeling worthless, and just feeling like you're not enough, or not feeling attractive, or you feel the strains of the the standards of the physical world weighing on you. And it was not a challenge for me, personally speaking, truthfully, to put myself into Abby's shoes. And I also kind of really liked how they never really resolved that, because in real life, very rarely are things like that even acknowledged or resolved. So yeah, that was a really juicy part of the script that I appreciated, and I've heard a lot of fans say too that it resonated with them, which I'm very happy about. But
and I'm definitely excited to see what does Abby's future look like in season 2, because I think like, yeah, they made the friend group made up, but they didn't really make up, so even that kind of, like, high school friends, do they last, do they not last?
for sure, yeah,
all of that stuff, there's so much that comes to it. And when you lose your friends, you're like, okay, so what now, type of thing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm definitely excited to see just what happens in that kind of sense, because that was a scene that actually got me in the show. Like, I was a little hesitant, I'll be honest, to start the show, but that scene, I was like, okay, there's something real here that, like, I can connect to myself. So
I'm glad
you played it very, very well. And I know it's a heavy scene, but definitely an important scene in not just Abby's role, but also in the show as a whole, because bring something to light, right?
And the verdict's still out. We don't know what's gonna happen.
Exactly. So we talked a little bit about the audience, and Ginny and Georgia got an insane reaction from just everyone. Like, I mean, it was number one for, I don't even remember how many weeks it was, and broke records. And did you ever expect this type of reaction from Ginny and Georgia coming out? You know,
I
how did you
mean,
feel? Like, take us through that.
yeah, how could you? You know, it's so funny. It was a very low key production that was shot not too far from where I live. And it felt like I was working with like friends who I had known for a long time. You know,
Yeah.
I've known of Sarah and of Chelsea for
From
a good
Degrassi.
proportion of my
Yeah.
career, and it just felt like any other project that I've worked on. So there was really no way to prepare or to expect how many people were actually going to be watching your face or you know, relating to your character storyline. But it was I can't lie and say that it wasn't a little bit overwhelming as soon as it started making itself apparent on social media. Um, I must say though, I'm just very proud of everybody involved, and for their work being recognized, for the wonderful work that it
Yeah.
is. You know, a lot was put into it, and I'm just very, very, you know, proud to be part of it, and happy that it's done what
Yeah.
it's done.
Yeah, and you could tell it's a family, because even afterwards, like, you guys, just the way you interact with each other online, it's very much like friends. You know, you're not just
Oh my god,
coworkers.
it's all love. It's just love. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny you
I
mentioned.
really lucked out.
Yeah, no, and it's funny you mentioned that, you know, you shot like pretty close to where you live. I'm like, I recognize these faces, because
Of
I'm
course you
also
do.
I'm in
It's
Ontario
crazy, right?
too, so I'm like, I
Yeah.
literally have been here before.
Yeah. Yeah. It felt like
Yeah.
home.
I was just gonna say, like, it's a very Canadian thing to say, like, you know, a film or a show was shot in Toronto with the people who are in it, you know.
I'm
So,
from your favorite
yeah,
Toronto show. Of
exactly.
course. Yep. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So, you know, going back, just talking about kind of like the experience of, you know, being an actress, and being, putting, you know, yourself on the line when it comes to acting. Do you ever experience performance anxiety, or, you know, the fear of potentially messing up? And if you do, like, how do you kind of overcome that yourself? And
Oh, yeah, of course. I definitely do. A lot of it is just like I think you just, more than anything, you want to do the story justice, and you want to communicate what the writers are trying to communicate, or what the production is trying to communicate properly. So it's feeling like a little bit of you know, pressure on your shoulders to do it right. Um, and to be honest with you, there's not much that you can do other than trust uh, yourself as a performer, and trust that they picked the actor that they picked. And then just really try to, like I said before, just bring the truth to the foreground, and you know, run with it from there. But yeah, I do get performance anxiety after all of these years. I don't know if that'll ever go away.
yeah, and I think that's what makes us human, right? Is, you know, we always want to be the best we can be in everything that we do. So you could be acting for 25 years, and you could still be like, I'm so scared, you know, I'm
Of
still scared to see
course.
something come out, because it's hard work that gets put into it, right? And you want to do it justice, just like you said.
Yeah, it's funny. This is a job where you have an audience, like people, a lot of people will see it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where that pressure comes from. But I do think it's just putting that worry aside would actually solve a lot of your performance issues. Just succumbing to your humanity,
Yeah.
and introducing a little bit of humility into your day at work.
Yeah, no, that's definitely it. And a lot of our listeners, actually, you know, they tend to really like to hear about advice about going into the entertainment field. And, you know, we know it's very brutal, it's very competitive. You really have to, you know, come out with your arms and elbows up, and like ready to fight at
Yeah,
times.
be
Um,
prepared to get your heart broken.
yeah, no, and you hear a lot of no's, and there's a lot of rejection. So, you know, what's kind of some advice that you'd give to anyone who's wanting to venture into acting, and getting over those hurdles that come with just starting out in the career?
Yeah, I think looking back on on everything. I would advise people to just be your authentic self throughout
Mhm.
all of it. You know, there are times that will be very testing and
Yeah.
it'll be very belittling, but more than anything, I think I've noticed that you're not all the parts are for you, and your part
Mhm.
will find you. And I think it's a very personal thing, playing taking on a character.
Mhm.
And in my experience, the roles that I get tend to be roles that are I can play. I just am
Yeah.
that character in a sense. And as long as you just stay true to your craft and you know why you're doing it, it will work out, and your part will find you. And it's you didn't do a bad job or anything. There's just so many actors
Yeah.
out there who can play the part too.
Yeah, that's true. And I think, something that you said, being authentic to who you are, I think, it comes with life too. The right opportunities will come your way that fit you and that you will be
Yeah.
more excited about and more able to just take on, right? Like you mentioned, you auditioned for Max, but the second you saw Abby, you're like, wait, actually, I feel more
I might be
connected to
able
her.
to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, and like there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of pinning people against each other, but there's, being a female tends to be also an added hurdle that we kind of have to go through. So, as you kind of make a mark and as you continue to just act and do what you love to do, is there something that you've learned that you've had to kind of do yourself as a female to kind of really make yourself known, or have you not really experienced any of that side of the entertainment industry?
Yeah, good question. It's in this it's 2021, and right now, as somebody who identifies as a female,
Mhm.
um and this is my personal experience, but things kind of feel a little bit operative. And of course, sure, there are times that are testing, and you can catch yourself still wondering if things might have played out differently, if you were different from who you are, if you weren't a woman, if
Yeah.
there wasn't like an immediate stigma applied to you off the bat. But I think now more than ever, the world is sort of kind of recognizing that it isn't about gender, whatever that means.
Mhm.
It's not what you are, it's who you are.
Yeah.
And it's empowering that moment that you realize that you can do and be and attract anything. I think there's a lot of opportunity for powerful voices to
Mhm.
make themselves be heard, and it's very motivating to be somebody who goes after it. So just to do anything. And although being someone who identifies as a woman is a huge part of my voice and my experience, it doesn't matter, and it doesn't or shouldn't apply to my skill set or the direction that
Mhm.
I choose to take my life in. So
Mhm.
I think now is the time to be your authentic, exceptional self, demand the floor, declare your humanity,
Yeah.
and use that voice.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's something we always need to hear. We know it, but we need to hear it, right? Like take the stand, fight for what you want, and don't just sit idly by and say, oh well, I wish I did this.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what's the one movie, you miss all the chances you never take, something like that. Hillary
Yeah,
Duff, I am so
it. You
sorry.
know the quote.
I am
Oh,
so
please,
sorry.
you're not talking to an expert.
It's like one of
I'm
like the
with you. I'm
Cinderella
with you.
stories. I don't even remember which one.
Picking up
um
what you're putting down.
yeah, exactly, there you go, there you go. I think being a Leafs fan just taught me to just push past all the negativity.
Hey, exactly.
Yeah. Perfect. So just before we end off, we just want to do some fun questions, get us laughing a little bit more.
Cool.
So, just before Mel asks some of her questions, I'll ask one. Being Canadian, we're kind of known for some weird food combos. I don't know why it is, but we are. So, what's the craziest food combination that you have had?
Oh, you're talking to a food combination enthusiast.
Okay.
I have a couple of these that I really like. I think my favorite snack right now is celery, peanut butter, and hear me out, hot sauce. It's kind of like, it kind of tastes like Thai food, and I pitched it to a bunch of people and I get mixed reactions every time, but that's number one for me right now.
Okay.
I also started doing this is kind of an unhealthy one, but like bread, just plain bread, whatever bread is your favorite kind of bread,
Okay.
with Nutella on it, and then normal plain Lay's chips on top of it, and I call it a chocolate chip sandwich.
I like the play on words.
Thank you. No, it's really good. And then I also am somebody who like really likes pickles. I have a palate that leans towards anything like that's a little bit fucking nasty.
Okay.
But pickles and peanut butter always go to.
Okay.
Peanut butter and peanut butter, hot sauce, and onions has been something that I
Interesting.
incorporated. I could go on for a while.
Interesting. So are you also the kind of person that like dips her fries into Frosties or?
Absolutely, since day one.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And
I
Hawaiian
also
pizza. Your thoughts on Hawaiian pizza?
Yeah, absolutely.
What else do you like?
Anything gross. I like slimy things. I love oysters.
Okay.
Olives.
Yes.
Anything that's I don't know. I wish I had I have a list of go-to interesting snacks of mine. Bacon
Okay.
and chocolate is a good combination as well.
Okay. Have you
Yes,
ever
ma'am.
tried hash browns with maple syrup?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
I feel like that's the most
Tried it all.
Canadian thing I've said like this entire time.
And I love it.
Yeah, I honestly I think maple syrup with anything is just golden.
Oh
know?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Mel's like,
I'm
I
so
don't
glad you
understand.
agree as well. I have these conversations with people who happen to disagree, and it's I like this is
I'm
refreshing.
I'm there with you. I'm there with you.
Hi, I'm that person that disagrees.
I mean, don't knock it until you try it.
It's true. I've seen TikTok. They've been doing cucumbers with sugar, and apparently
Oh,
it
interesting.
tastes like watermelon.
Oh, I haven't tried that yet. I
There
can
you
imagine
go.
it would.
There you
Nice.
go. You're welcome.
Add it to the list. I'm thinking of starting a interesting cookbook.
Oh, okay. Well, you let
Stinky
me know when
cookbook.
it's ready. I will be subscribing to that or purchasing.
Yeah, I'll run it by the editor and see.
All right, Mel, you can
Give anybody food poisoning.
and then just find notes. You just be like, if you get food poisoning, don't sue me. Thanks.
Not accountable. Yeah.
Okay, going off of food, which clearly lit up your eyes, we're gonna talk about your eyes just lit up. Food combinations, I'm here.
It's passion.
Food is love. Going from one love to another, let's talk music.
Yeah.
What is one artist you can listen to on repeat and never get tired of?
God, yeah, there's a lot going through my brain right now. I have pretty reliable one for me is Bob Dylan is so cool to me. I think he's cool. And everything he says just kind of rings true. He's a reliable one. I love Phoebe Bridgers. I have for a while, and I'll be with her till the very end. I don't know. Lately, I've been going through. I have a very broad taste in music, so I think. Oh, you know who? You know what? It just came into my head. I love Adrienne Lenker from Big Thief. I think
Okay.
she's a super talented lady.
Interesting. Okay,
It's such a hard question. I'm forgetting everybody right now. Sorry.
It's okay. We tend to break people with these questions. Because the next question is, what are your top 2 favorite songs of all time?
Oh, that's not fair. No. Oh, I wish I had time to think about this one.
You have time.
I mean, you could always bring up Spotify if you really need to.
Can I? I
Yes,
might
you can.
just. Let's pull it up. I think I have a real soft spot for
I love these questions because every single time they're like, why?
I'm gonna
Why do
say
you
the
do
wrong
this?
thing no matter what. Yeah.
But we always get the same reaction. People are like, songs? Do I listen to music? Shit.
Guys, can I just kind of fit? Okay, Radiohead. Anything from Radiohead. I'm going through a Radiohead thing right now.
Okay.
But specifically OK Computer. I think it's like the like coolest album that they have. I'm obsessed. Radiohead, guys, check it out if you haven't heard of them.
I love it. I love
Okay.
it.
Radiohead it is. Okay, another question that breaks people about music is, if you had to pick a song to play every single time you enter a room, which song would it be and why?
You know what? How about bear with me.
We've got some time.
What if I said Can I go check my record player real quick? I know what it
Yes.
is. Wait. Close to Me by The Cure.
Okay.
Next question.
She went with The Cure. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Thanks.
We love a good vinyl.
I feel okay with that answer.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy with that answer.
I'm gonna regret it in a year. Sorry, I'm overwhelmed. Okay, next
No.
question.
In a year, we'll just redo this and we'll see if your answer has changed or not.
We'll see.
We're pulling a Billie Eilish. We're coming back every year to update.
Every
Thank
year,
you.
every year. Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you.
update it. So most Canadians love their coffee. Don't know why. We're like low-key addicted to our coffee. So
Mhm.
what's your go-to coffee order and where do you usually go to?
I'm pretty easy.
Okay.
I like milk. I like cow milk.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt me. It agrees with me. And normally lately I've just been getting a regular iced latte, you know.
Okay.
But my favorite coffee place, I gotta say, is Jimmy's. I live down the street from one, and it's my go-to, and
Mm-hmm.
I just love them. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Another weird thing that I've been doing, I have a coffee maker as well. It's like the only adult thing that I have, and I've been using it for like in ways that an adult wouldn't. But I've been putting like cinnamon into the filter, like in with the
Okay.
coffee, and like mixing it in there, and it's really good. And I would recommend it to everyone, adult or otherwise.
Interesting. In the coffee filter. So like it's
Yeah,
just like
right in there with
coffee
the
and
coffee.
cinnamon. I love it.
Yeah,
That's
put
new.
nutmeg.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So
I
you're an
encourage
iced
you to experiment.
Yeah, I will definitely. So you're an iced coffee type of person. That's
yeah, in the warm months for sure.
Yes. Okay, so what do you get in the winter? Or do you just not get
normally
coffee?
a latte, honestly. Just
Okay.
Oh yeah, again, I'm fully addicted to caffeine, but
Yes.
I just a regular latte.
Just like,
Pull the
okay.
sugar. I'll
Oh,
do
yes.
it for me.
Yep. If you haven't tried it yet, Tim's new cold brew is really good.
Is it?
Like I'm not a big Tim's person. I'm more of a McDonald's person, but like the Tim's cold brew
This is
has
great.
hit.
I live just by one.
There you go. Yeah, the vanilla sweet cold brew. Trust me, worth it. It's worth it.
Tomorrow morning on my way to work, that'll be my drink.
Perfect. There we go.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You have to let me know if you like it though, because I've heard mixed reactions. I personally love it,
Interesting.
but you know,
The thing is, yes, I'm kind of a pig, so I will drink anything and think that it's good. Drink, eat anything and appreciate it. So
you and me both. It's okay.
hardly a critic.
Yeah. You'd be like
Just a
anyone's
pig.
favorite person because you're like, I don't like this. You'd be like, here you go, take it. You can have
Oh,
my
hands
meal.
down, I'm a trash can. Yeah.
No, I'm here for it. I'm that person too. So have you traveled to any cool places? If you have, what's your favorite place that you've traveled to, whether it's within Canada or outside of Canada?
Yeah, I've been to a couple of places. I wish that I had done more Europe before this happened. But
Mhm.
I spent some time in Paris a couple years ago, and that was a beautiful, lovely experience. And my friend and I kind of went without a plan and ended up hopping around hostels, and I think
Yeah.
that was the way to do it. But weirdly, I think my favorite place to travel to is actually within Canada, and it's Lake Louise out in BC. It's just like the most anywhere out west is just I love mountains, and I love, like, being
Mhm.
in the trees, and it's to this day I think the most beautiful place I've been. So
Yeah. I've been to Abbotsford and I'm like, take me back.
oh my gosh,
Take me
yeah.
back.
Yeah, it's just something in the air, and even just I like how it's not always hot all the time. It's kind of chilly and it gets in
Yeah.
your bones, and
Yeah.
yeah, anywhere with trees, I'll
And
be a
yeah,
happy
I
girl.
mean, living in Ontario, especially like GTA area, you're like,
Get
give
me
me the
out!
mountains, get me out of
Yeah,
here.
yeah. But, oh my gosh, I always underestimate, like, Canada has just the most beautiful places, and
Mhm.
yeah, if anyone's ever in BC, check out Lake Louise,
Yeah.
but for sure.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Tobermory?
I actually haven't.
Okay,
I
go to
haven't.
Tobermory. It's beautiful. It's
Oh, I've heard
like
nothing but good things.
like I go there every year to camp and it's gorgeous. Like it's
Oh,
worth the trip, trust me.
I'm like the worst Canadian ever. There's a couple places that I haven't been that I really get off.
It's okay. It's okay. I just visited Ottawa and I've lived here for 16 years. So
Right on, that one's okay.
eventually,
You can,
eventually just get there.
yeah.
I just want to go to Canada, period.
Honestly,
Just come.
we're
I'll try.
it's kind of like a nice little hidden secret. Like people don't really know.
Yeah,
How
they just
lovely
know
it could actually
Toronto,
be.
really. That's
Yeah,
it, right? And just
yeah.
like there's more to Toronto. There's more to Canada than the CN Tower.
That's so okay. Keep it a secret.
Once the
It's
pandemic
ours.
is over,
Deal.
I am on my way.
Please.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the hard questions.
Yeah.
If you could switch bodies with someone for an entire day, who would you switch with?
Good question. I think it would be really interesting to switch with I want to say David Lynch. I'm gonna say David Lynch. I think
Okay.
it would be. Does that mean I can inherit his thoughts and his
Yes.
mannerisms
For a
and everything?
day.
For a
Yeah,
day, yeah.
I would love to. I've got a couple questions, and I feel like I would love to just spend a day in the life of David Lynch.
Yeah.
Cool.
She's satisfied with that answer. She's like, yep, I'm here for this.
Let's do it. Freaky Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question I have is, if you didn't have the career you have right now, what would you be up to?
I really like collecting junk, and I love using my hands to make things. And I've always thought about the idea of finding old furniture and refurnishing it and starting up like a little boutique. I don't know. Antique store, even like just selling collectibles. And if I ever to show you my like room right now, it's full of like weird old stuff. And I would just love to sell and reinvent junk. I like collecting. Let's call it that.
I love that. I love
I
that.
also I like visual arts, and I make my own art and everything too. So maybe I'd have a gallery. Who knows?
Maybe
There's
one
some
day.
Big
Maybe
things.
one day.
It's plan B for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, going off of crafting and doing and creating things with your hands, what do you think is the most useless talent that you have? I was not
Okay.
expecting that.
I was not
I love
expecting that either.
I've never
Also,
called
that
a
was-
loon once. They don't come.
They never do. You know what? They never do. They just.
Useless.
But then one day the loon will show up, and you'll be like, "There we go. Finally, not
Just
useless."
haven't tried hard enough. I
It's
just haven't
something.
said the right thing yet.
Well, one day it will happen, and we'll
Thank you.
cheer you on. We'll cheer you.
Thank you.
Well, Katie, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us. I love just talking to you and picking your brain, and you're very wise and you're very well spoken, and you're just an amazing person. I feel like I just made a new friend.
Oh, thanks for saying that, guys. Thanks for even being interested in talking to me. I have nothing else to do right now, so it's lovely. It's lovely chatting with you guys.
And that's girl stuff.